why I feel like most relationships fail or struggle very deeply to ever achieve just that really healthy internal bond between two people. And what I'm going to say, my answer, it's so generic. You've heard it time and time again, but I'm going to explain maybe my version or what I think this means, and maybe it'll help you. Maybe this will resonate with you, and who knows. But I think the biggest reason why my past relationships have always failed, I was sitting down with one of my friends today, and he was telling me why his relationship wasn't working out. And it really does come to communication. Communication is everything. If you truly want to be with this person for the rest of your life and have that special bond, which I think is a super just extraordinary feeling and experience throughout your whole life, to be just bonded with one person and share your life with them and have that grow and blossom to the most beautiful flower or tree ever. I think majority of the work needs to be put on communication. And the cool thing with that is I think it does get easier the more you learn how to communicate with each other. I think it takes just as much effort from both people. It can't just be one over the other, or one's 60%, one's 40%. I really do feel like it needs to be a 50-50 effort by both parties. And when I'm talking about communication, I'm not talking about when things are easy, obviously. I'm talking about when you and your partner are going through life and there's just anything sticky, any issues in your mind that may be troubling you or you've been thinking about, and you're holding it inside and you're keeping it within you instead of bringing it up and just communicating. I myself have been the worst communicator ever in relationships, and I still do it to this day. I'm still not perfect by any means. But sitting down with my friend today and him telling me some stories between him and his girl, and after 3 years, he wants out, and almost every scenario he spoke about between the two reminded me of myself. And every scenario where I've struggled in my past relationships, and it's communicating. And it's when something's bothering you, you have to talk about it. But the biggest part of that communication, and that you have to have leading the way right in front of you, covering your heart, is you gotta communicate. Again, if you want to be with this person and you think this is, your person, and you want this to work more than anything, you gotta come to the communication table with love first. You can't come upset, because you're just going to get that back. And for example, there's been a few times in the past for me and my girlfriend, love her to death, shout out to you, baby, we'll be arguing about something and it's usually me, and I have a sticky point, and I'm shutting off, and I want to argue, and I don't want to communicate. And then a few things have happened this year where I realized, wow, if I just hug this person and truly let all of my love just exert out of my body and really mean this hug, right in the middle we're arguing, boom, I just come and say, hey, I'm sorry, and I just give her the biggest hug. Or like, let's not do this to each other. Like, we love each other so much. Like, what are we doing? And I just hug her. And I really mean that hug. And there's only love behind that hug. The conversation and everything else, it figures itself out. But it starts with that love. And it starts with that communication. So when you do sit down to communicate with your loved one, which I think is the most important thing you can do if there's any issue that you're having with them or yourself or the relationship or something that may have happened recently or in the past, if you let that build up, it truly is like just a big poisonous virus that's just building up in your system, and it doesn't get better. In fact, I feel like it creates a pattern of poison that just flows through you. And you have to consciously try and break that cycle. Which I told my friend, I told him today, I was like, bro, that's the hardest thing to do. The hardest thing to do is actually do the thing you need to do when you need to do it. When things aren't going well and you are in an argument, or you have this sticky, ugly, dark feeling for whatever reason, and you need to communicate, you have to sit down and communicate, but it has to come from a place of true love. Because if you try to communicate and you just want to get your point across, or you're just trying to sound right or blame the other person, and it can come out, that blaming and stuff, so subtly. And I don't even think I realize I do it sometimes. I don't think people realize they do it, but you got to really want to treat your other person the way you want to be treated, and it has to come from just pure, authentic love inside of you. I would say 90% of relationships fail because of communication, because people have these feelings that they don't talk about with the closest person to them, which is often the person they're in a relationship with, a committed relationship with. I feel like that's why poly relationships are people who can date all these other people, and the girlfriend's cool with it, the boyfriend's cool with it, everyone's doing everyone. Their communication is probably on point. Now, I'm not saying that's for me or for you, but I run into those couples and I'm like, damn, your communication is probably just spot on, and they're good, I don't know if that was the best example, but you guys get the point. And I'm just making this video because I would love to see less people just go through what we all go through with relationships, and so much ugliness and negativity, and how that can just ruin some people's lives, or at least ruin their month or their year. If there's anything on your mind that you need to bring up to your partner, you got to bring it up to them. And if you do it out of love and compassion, and you're not trying to be right, you're not trying to manipulate, you're just, open heart, open arms, and they don't, which is a less likelihood, right? If you respond in that loving way, you have a lot higher chance of them feeling the same way and getting a similar reaction. But if you do the right things and you communicate with a big heart, and that's front and center when you do sit down and you're calm and you want this to work, and it's just love and it's truth, and they still want to fire back and manipulate and not treat you well, then that's not your fault. And if you're in a relationship like that, I wish you the best. And I would say, if this video is speaking to you and you're in one of those toxic relationships, just look out for yourself. Nothing is more important than your peace, your internal peace. And if you're doing everything you can to love someone and find peace in a relationship, and you're communicating like the way I said has worked for me, just my experience, I don't know. You may just want to be really aware of what's going on. I want my relationship to work, and I want it to be fluid and smooth forever. I love this woman that I'm with. I've never felt this before, and I've never wanted to work on all my little sticky issues that I have, all the little traumas from the childhood that I keep with me. I've never wanted to work on it more, but again, it can only happen in those moments where you need to work on it. You can't work on it when you're at work, or when you're chilling, or when you're having fun and things aren't arising. You got to work on it when you feel that anger, when you feel that frustration, when you feel like that pattern's returning and it's time to argue and blame, because it's everyone's fault typically, right? You can't just say it's one person's fault. That's when you got to work on it. When you feel like working on it the least, that's the test. And I feel like that's the universe testing you, saying, hey, here's your chance. Here's your chance to show this other person what love truly is. And hopefully there's synergies there and you guys have a beautiful relationship. But if not, there's someone out there that will connect with you and will pair with you. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.